Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast or media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, Mathmachine, the Shark, Stryker, and our special guest today is Sharvoun. Today is our 129th episode, our third Jurassic July episode of the year, and we're talking about the 1998 Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park ride, Dinosaur, also known as Countdown to Extinction. So, let's get things started.
Holy fucking shit. It's a not on my lot, you don't. Smacks with a broom. Oh my gosh. Also, Sharvoun.
Let's just say, all throughout this experience, Ian Malcolm's just rolling his eyes saying, nobody listens to me.
Nice.
Almost like fucking, this is fine.
Yeah, definitely. But, like I say, so in 1998, Disney released their fourth theme park in Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida, that being Disney's Animal Kingdom. As the name suggests, the park was all about animal life throughout the world, with sections on subcontinental Africa, India, Thailand, etc. The relevant section that is relevant to us is Dinoland USA, which is set in an archaeological dig and also has the Dino Institute. There's also a restaurant next door to the Dino Institute called Restaurantosaurus, which is done up like a series of trailers that paleontologists would actually work in. What's really interesting is that it has model sheets from the Rite of Spring of Fantasia of the dinosaur basically sketches for it, as well as pictures of Walt Disney with dinosaur animatronics from the World's Fair. Really interesting stuff. And there's actually a section where like little kids can pretend to be on like a dinosaur archaeological dig, and that's all really cute stuff. But the standout ride was called Countdown to Extinction and is the ride we are discussing today. Disney would later rename the ride Dinosaur in the year 2000 in order to promote the movie of the same name, and they put a statue of Aladar outside of the ride. Ironically enough, more people probably know Aladar from this theme park ride than they do from the actual movie Dinosaur, so that's something that's really interesting. Oh, go ahead, Sharvoun.
One thing I will say, part of the reason why I think they made the ride, 2 years ago, in September 3rd, Universal Studios Hollywood released to the public the Jurassic Park ride. Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah. It definitely seemed like something that was kind of trying to play off of Jurassic Park, but I don't know. You can't copyright the idea of dinosaurs, you know? Like, as much as Universal would want to, you cannot copyright the idea of like a dinosaur-themed area because let's face it, kids love dinosaurs no matter what. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
Quote Garlic Jr. Fair enough.
Basically, dinosaurs have almost been a popular thing with the kids, but of course, Jurassic Park did really launch the popularity way up, so Disney basically could have said, oh hey, dinosaurs are popular again, and dinosaurs are not copyrighted, let's add dinosaurs here.
Yep, and of course they had an upcoming movie that they could tie it into, which is even better, you know? So that probably was like a brand synergy, but of course it didn't really work, even though Dinosaur 2000, the CGI movie, it was more of a hit than you think of, and link to that will be on after this episode, but go ahead, Angron, sorry.
Yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed Dinosaur more than I should. It had a sort of a edge to it that wasn't as sharp as something like Jurassic Park, but it was different enough to be its own thing, and I definitely think it should be talked about more. And this ride is a testament to its staying power, and I definitely think it'll be interesting to talk about it a little bit, especially with what goes on in the ride itself.
Definitely. And the thing that also is interesting is the ride itself, of course, begins with a Q, but right off the bat, a really, really nice touch right there. There's a plaque saying when the Dino Institute was founded in the first place, which is really, really neat. There's all kinds of really cool artifacts as well as dinosaur skulls, which I really don't know if they're real. It'd be awesome if they were. And like I say, I don't know about the authenticity of it, but it still is really, really neat regardless. And as you go in deeper, there's all kinds of fossils and dinosaur artifacts on the wall, as well as an actual T-Rex skeleton. They're like a full-on T-Rex skeleton. Again, No word of it being a real skeleton or not, but if it is, that is absolutely awesome. That is so cool that they do that. There's also really cool murals and a pterodon fossil. Oh, go ahead, Sharvoun. Sorry about that.
That's part of the strength of Disney rides, honestly. They're very good at establishing a mood and a world and an environment for the ride. Like, say what you will about Disney, but they do have when they get creative, they have the great touch.
Yeah, they really, really go all out. Actually, what's interesting is the skeleton is actually a T-Rex's skeleton with a carnotaurus skull pasted on it. I guess because they thought, oh, we gotta make it look scary, so let's do that without it being paleontologically accurate. But regardless, what's also interesting is the voiceover that plays from none other than Bill Nye the Science Guy, as he shares some facts and theories about the dinosaurs, how they lived, basically where they lived, all sorts of things about that. And I will say this, two things. Number one, this is not the last time we are going to see Bill Nye the Science Guy on an episode on this podcast where we talk about a theme park ride. Cough, cough, Universe of Energy, cough, cough. Yeah. The second thing is that it's really great he was able to do not one, but two Disney theme park rides before that tragic balloon accident,
Oh.
Yep. So glad he was at least able to do that because, I mean, we really have to honor the man, especially for such the tragically lost his life in that balloon. Such a shame. But anyway, we then get to the pre-show area where we basically go into a small theater which has a movie playing on a projection screen. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Angron.
Wait, you're serious that it was Bill Nye doing the announcement in the waiting line?
Yeah, that really is him. That really is Bill Nye because his show was distributed by Disney at the time. Yeah, really, seriously, it's Bill Nye.
That makes sense.
You were saying?
Yeah, that thing, Bill Nye, honestly made me think of the Back of the Future cartoon, which ends with in the episode they show like you can do energy with lemons, and at the end they kind of show you as the guy doing in real life energy with lemons as well. So yeah, that reminded me of that.
Yeah, definitely cool to see him. He really was one of those figures that really, really was everywhere for a while. Then he went away, then he came back. Some people would say probably to the detriment, but regardless. But yeah, he really does a good job, I think, selling the authenticity of it, And again, this is not the last time we're going to be talking about him on a theme park ride with dinosaurs, so that'll be a lot of fun. Sharvoun, you were saying?
Bill Nye the Science Guy, I remember growing up with his show, Bill Nye the Science Guy. He was so entertaining and he's so fun. He has such charisma. So to have him involved in this makes so much sense. Honestly, I wish he was doing the pre-show.
Yeah, he definitely was one of those figures that definitely was a very, very legendary figure. But basically what happens next is you then step into the pre-show area, which is like a small standing theater sort of place. When you get into the pre-show section, the film starts with a Dino Institute logo. Then they're introduced by Dr. Marsh, played by Vasila Rashad, who is best known for a television show that really has not aged well, to say the least. That's all we're going to say about what TV show she was on because, yeah, that's not a good thing. Let's say it that way. But anyway, what happens next, though, is that she greets everyone into the Dino Institute and says that she hopes they enjoyed the, quote, quaint exhibits that are in the lobby. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
I don't know why. She probably did she probably did do it at some point, but she very much reminds me of the Carmen Sandiego video game series and also, to an extent, the TV show. I don't know if she was on that or not, but I do know that she looks like she did from the freaking game. It's probably not her, but that's what it reminds me of. And I'm just like, is Carmen Sandiego back in time with the dinosaurs?
No. Sadly, it is not the chief who was Lynn Thigpen. She was an absolute legend, absolutely awesome. Let's say this way, Vasila Rashad wishes she was half the woman Lynn Thigpen was. But getting back to this, basically, she then mentions how basically the fossils in the pre-show section, the queue, is basically how dinosaurs have been presented since time began. But then mentions about how the Dino Institute has made the Time Rover, which is a vehicle that will bring visitors back to the time of the dinosaurs. Obviously, we know what's going to happen on this ride. Someone's going to step on a butterfly, they go back to the future, and everything is spelt differently.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, A Sound of Thunder, the ride, is probably a lot better than A Sound of Thunder, the movie, which hopefully we will not have to do in the near future because that is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Anyway, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, Disney didn't need to hire a bunch of scientists to make a car that can take you back to the dinosaur era. They just needed to ask Homer Simpson for his toaster.
That too. That's a good one right there. But she then says how there's going to be a safety briefing and then the tour will begin. She mentions how the future truly is in the past, to which I have to say one thing. Isn't that the motto of the Nostalgia Critic? But the video then pans down to the Dino Institute logo before TV static pops up. We then cut to a dinosaur hand puppet greeting the audience before revealing that it's being controlled by Dr. Seeker. Dr. Seeker is played by Wallace Langham, and I'm sorry, he is great. He is probably the best non-dinosaur animatronic part of this ride by a mile, because this guy just has so much charisma in that. Oh, go ahead, Sharvoun. Sorry about that.
Yeah, he is fun, and he's a lot of fun, but honestly, it would have been so much better if it was Bill Nye being like, hey, kids, you want to go back in time and get me a dinosaur?
Yes.
See, I don't know about that, and I'll tell you why. I feel like Dr. Seeker is just such a fun character. He has that whole kind of absent, like a professor vibe down. It really, really is such a great character. Like, I feel like if they made someone like Bill Nye, it'd be kind of it'd seem out of character. But for this guy, you absolutely can believe he's like, oh yeah, he's a scientist who wants to go back in time and bring back a dinosaur. It's like, oh, totally, that makes sense. Just by looking at him, you know?
Fair enough.
But he basically says that he's going to take them all on a trans-dimensional joyride and is their controller of the time rover, as well as, quote, one heck of a good paleontologist, which is a statement that we will definitely have to see its veracity. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
As opposed to taking a transdipulator to the past.
Nice,
he picked it up from the store.
Yeah. Well, Disney did own Zurg, so they could have had him show up too. Go ahead, Sharvoun.
Oh, he's also. I imagine he was like, we would have tried cloning the dinosaurs ourselves, but that proved with our competitors that it would not.
Yeah.
I can definitely see where they were going with that. But what happens, basically, he then says that he wants the help of the, basically, ride goers in the time rover to make history. He says that if he can bring the passengers to the past and back, he can do the same with the dinosaur. He then brings up a screen which shows footage of Aladar that is actually taken directly from the film Dinosaur. Like, I don't know what scene exactly it is, but I know that's definitely from the finished film. I wonder if that scene was in the original version of the ride, Countdown to Extinction, if it was just like a picture or something like that, because the movie was not finished when the ride was open, so some of that's in there. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
They honestly should have gotten Bailey. Like, she's the last of her kind, as was established in the film. So, to be perfectly honest, her being back there in her final days would be pretty great.
Yep. But maybe we do actually see her on the ride, so that'd be a plus at least there. But yeah, basically, he then says that he needs to bring back an iguanodon as he is the key to understanding these magnificent creatures, which, okay, I guess you can't just do like Pokemon Snap and analyze and gotta bring one back, but alright. He then says that he put a locator on Aladar after a, quote, unauthorized field trip, and thus he cannot actually go with us on the ride, which, again, I always love when theme parks do that kind of thing. Oh, go ahead, Math.
We gotta go to the past to get back to the future, Marty. Wait, wrong series.
Yeah. And hey, another ride that Universal Studios had at the time. They had the Back to the Future theme park ride. So, yeah, were they ripping off that too with this? We can only speculate. But yeah, basically Dr. Seeker then points out that he wants to take visitors to the very end of the Cretaceous period. Dr. Marsh then arrives, saying that she arrived just in time to avoid a serious mistake. She says that where they're going is too close to the asteroid impact, and that the tour is meant to go to the earlier Cretaceous period, where it is safer. Dr. Seeker pretends to agree, and then types in a few code prompts, locking the time rovers on their original destination. He then plays a film about seatbelts, saying that passengers should use it and keep their arms and feet in the ride at all times. He also says not to use flash photography, as he says it'll mess up the homing beacon, and I'm sorry. I always love when theme parks come up with in-universe excuses as to why not use flash photography and keep like your hands and feet inside the ride and things like that. I always love that level of world building. It's so cute, you know. But anyway, Sharvoun, you were saying?
First of all, Doctor, wouldn't it be easier if you sent us a day before the meteor strike? Because I don't want to risk my life. I like you, but I don't want to risk my life for you. Second, I feel like the real reason why they have a strict no flash photography rule is because it would kind of mess up with the aesthetics that we're probably going to go into.
Yeah, I definitely kind of see that. Angron, you were saying?
That and the dinosaurs probably wouldn't have taken too kindly to getting flash photography in their face, unlike Nessie from The Simpsons.
Yep,
Yeah,
but not Ballad of Nessie because that's why she's hiding. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Chuck.
No, I was agreeing with Angron.
Oh, okay, all good. So basically, he then he then presses a button on the computer, which basically ends up reverting the changes he made. Which, wow, the Dino Institute really needs to up its IT security. What, they have Dennis Nedry working on it? I want to make a tally to see how many Jurassic Park references we can make in this episode, by the way. I think that's like
Nice.
4 at this point. But regardless, what happens is he tells the audience that the plan is to follow the homing signal to Aladar. Then when the time rover reaches him, Dr. Seeker will enlarge the transport field to bring Aladar back with them. He tells the audience not to worry about the asteroids. The time rover will be out of there before the asteroid breaks up in the atmosphere. And then, of course, he asks that old, too familiar question, what could possibly go wrong? As he then hits a button and tells the Dino Institute logo to appear. I do love this moment that when Dr. Seeker, you hear him over the intercom basically saying that you're on a secret mission, so try not to tell anyone. And I don't know, it's just so funny that just the thought that this guy is trying to do this all under the table, you know, bring the passengers to a different time period, you know, bring a dinosaur back with him, and he's screaming it over the intercom, you know? He must have learned keeping secrets from Patrick with the Manua Loa ride.
That or Children of the Corn.
Yeah, that's true. But the audience then walks through a narrow hallway in order to get to the underground research facility where the ride takes place. There's, of course, banners and posters of the Dino Institute virtually everywhere. There's also a set of red, yellow, and white pipes, which are a really, really subtle joke because there's all sorts of complex chemical formulas on them. But the formulas are for, and this is actually what it is, ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise, respectfully.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonder if they're all musical instruments.
Nice.
Well, we know one of them is. And the reason they did that joke, the original sponsor for the ride, and really the Dino Institute as a whole, was McDonald's. But even when they left basically the sponsorship of the ride, they still kept that joke in, which is something that is really interesting. It's one of those things that it's so subtle, and yet if you know it, it is chuckle-worthy, you know? Go ahead, Sharvoun.
Anyone else in the mood for a Royale with cheese? McDonald's joke.
All good.
Yeah, but basically, as you get into the time rover, after, you know, the long line, you drive past a security station that has an alarm blaring. Dr. Seeker basically explains that we have to get in, get Aladar, and get out of there as a pair of doors open. Now, the time rover goes to the doors and up a room that has flashing red lights on the walls, then goes past a strobe light, which, to me, this is such a simple, yet really, really cool way of going back in time, like how they actually depict that, you know? That's one of the things that this ride really does, really interestingly, you know, how they actually depict the process of time travel. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, this reminds me of here there was like this event where they will bring a tent with sorry, not train of thought. There was a thing that happened once a year over here. They bring like a huge carnival of like dinosaurs, and there was like a big tent where you're supposed to enter to a portal not so different than this one. Like it had like a spinning effect that it kind of makes you dizzy, but the point is you enter the tent, you go through this portal, and you go through basically in the dinosaur world. Like it was really well decorated. Like it was really convincing. It was really cool. The dinosaurs animatronic were really cool as well. So the concept, and especially the tunnel you go through to go back in time, really remind me of that thing that no longer happens here, unfortunately.
Huh. I wonder if they took that from this ride, or if it was like independently thought, because it is very interesting. Because I haven't seen time travel depicted like this in other kinds of media, and it's really, really interesting. One of those things that makes you
Yeah.
wonder. Okay, that's okay. But anyway, the time rover then arrives back in the Cretaceous period, where it drives past a Styrangosaurus, and again, all of the dinosaurs on this ride are depicted by audio animatronics that, to this day, are still really, really impressive. I mean, now I think their shine has slowed down slightly when compared to like watching a video from like 1999 and 2000. Like, yeah, they have definitely aged a little bit, but it still is really, really impressive, I think, just like the skill of these animatronics. And again, these are definitely not the last dinosaur animatronics on a theme park ride we're going to be talking about, both at Disney or Universal Studios, so be sure to look out for that. Oh, go ahead, Sharvoun.
Along the way, they come across Squidward, who just wants to be alone and get away from SpongeBob and Patrick.
Yeah,
Nice.
nice. Well, what happens is basically the time rover notes that a meteor showers in rage as Dr. Seeger just brushes it off, saying, "Oh, it's only a little one." And yeah, at this point, you really got to question Dr. Seeker's knowledge in that,
Yep.
compared to what time you were in. But
Professional, he is not.
definitely. Well, he is one heck of a good paleontologist, so I'm inclined to take him on his word. But
Well, freaking Osborne was something of a scientist, and yet look where he ended up.
true. Well, anyway, go ahead, Shark.
I'm a dinosaur expert, like the Futurama whale expert.
Nice.
Nice. That is a great one. But what happens? You then drive past an Alioramus devouring a much smaller dinosaur as a small raptor watches you on a ledge. And again, like I say, this is one of those effects that it doesn't, like I say, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think that is cool. They actually have that like pop up just to like show that, I think kind of the danger we're in. But you then pass a Hadriosaur, and another raptor pops out in kind of a jump scare as Dr. Seeker puts the time rover on autopilot as it senses another large dinosaur. The time rover drives through lightning before stopping at the dinosaur, and by lightning we mean the meteorological effect, not Lightning McQueen, because Disney would push that guy everywhere if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Also,
Sharvoun.
Sharvoun.
Actually, I'm actually gonna wait for it to be mentioned. So
Okay.
No good. Shark.
As we know, Lightning will certainly try to ride this ride because he's a dinosaur fan, as we saw last time.
Oh,
Really?
definitely. And yet,
Danico.
Yep. Although Mater definitely would be bored to tears in it, but regardless. What happens, though, it turns out to not be Aladar, but instead a giant carnotaurus, which, also, interestingly enough, this is around the same time they were making the Disney dinosaur Disney dinosaur movie, rather, and infamously, the carnotaurus are actually the villains in that movie as well. So, did they take it because the movie was being worked on, or did they make them the villains in the movie because of the ride? It's one of those things that it's an interesting kind of like feedback loop. Like, was the ride like innovating the movie in a way? Kind of an interesting food of thought there. But Sharvoun, you were saying?
I have to say, this is one of the biggest examples of how the ride did kind of age. Like some of the kind of Taurus animatronics look a little weak because honestly, it looks like the skin's coming off. But in the original ride, it looked pretty darn impressive. But in later rides before its closure, the skin was coming off and it was losing part of its thunder, in my opinion.
That does happen on some of these theme park rides, wear and tear and that. But I still think it looks really, really good, especially for the time period of when it was made. These are like really, really state of the art stuff. Anyway, Angron, you were saying?
First of all, yeah, definitely a case of which came first, the chicken or the egg going on here. And second of all, it's just as William Afton said in FNAF, the animatronics tend to get quirky at night sometimes, or in this case, in the dark. And third of all, it won't be the last time we see those carnotaurus either, because they show up at least 2 more times.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. But what happens next, though, is the Carnotaurus then roars at the Time Rover, causing it to speed out of there. The ride goes pitch black for a few moments, so the time rover drives back and forth at a very fast speed before slowing down. And yeah, this basically is a thrill ride. I think what it is, a lot of kids rode this ride or still ride this ride, not knowing how intense it is. But I mean, I'm sorry, this also looks like a lot of fun with like the speed it goes at. And I definitely think if you have a kid that's into dinosaurs, definitely take them to see this ride as soon as possible. But what happens is then the time rover then slows down. It goes past a sauropod as Dr. Seeker notes that it's not our dino, but at least it's friendly. And yeah, it's a shame that we have no confirmation if this sauropod is supposed to be baleen or not, because again, would have been a really nice touch, especially considering the fact that the dinosaur movie was in the works and this is made. They could have tied it in a little more, but I guess they didn't want it to be too dated.
Yeah.
Let's see. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that it's at least Baleen or one of her herd, because did that girl ultimately get done dirty in the film proper? I mean, she definitely is the peak of the movie, but yeah, that's not saying much when she still gets shafted in other regards.
Right.
Yeah.
Odds on
definitely.
odds on Tinder being one of them.
Yep. So, Matt, you were saying?
So I've looked this up, and allegedly, by sheer weird coincidence, both the theme park and the movie, they had absolutely no connection to each other at all, and they just both independently came up with the idea, hey, the T-Rex is kind of overdone. Let's use the Carnotaurus because it looks like the fucking devil. That should make for an interesting villain.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. It's awesome.
Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong.
So it's
I'm
just a
shocked.
weird coincidence that both did the same thing, and it was able to mesh together later.
Yeah, I think that's why, like I say, they probably changed the ride to dinosaur because they figured, hey, we have Carnotaurus on the ride and we have him in the movie. That's another connection. So really interesting stuff. It's also interesting. It took until Fallen Kingdom for the Jurassic Park franchise to even use Carnotaurus. It looks evil. Like you'd think like day one or like by the time they did like JP3, they'd be like, yes, that should be our villain. But nope, they did Spinosaurus, which does not appear on this ride. But getting off this tangent here. What happens next, though, is we then see lightning light up the sky as the time rover computer says that impact will be in 90 seconds. This is, of course, causing the time rover to speed up as it drives faster. A pterodon flies overhead, which nearly hits the time rover as Dr. Seeker tells the audience to look out. Obviously, they should have played one sound clip during this part. I guess this was before manners were invented.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easily is what reminded me of it. The computer then says that there's only 60 seconds to impact as the time rover speeds up again. And as you look up, you see compies are running for their lives. And unlike the dinosaurs, these compies are done by computer graphics. And for 1999, these things look really, really good. Like they look almost screen quality for something that would be on there for maybe, 5 seconds, 10 seconds tops. This animation really does look good. It is really, really impressive.
Nice.
But what happens next is the Dr. Seeker then asks the computer what's happening as it says loss of traction. We see some more strobe lights flash on the car before we see more like a Tyrannosaurus roaring at the time rover. Dr. Seeker then enables four-wheel drive as a meteor shower begins, which I do like this as well. How they depict it is there's red lights flashing all over the attraction. That really, really looks cool. But what happens next is the time rover then makes various left and right turns in a very, very quick way before Dr. Seeker notes that was close. The time rover then stops by the Tyrannosaurus, which then rears up and roars into the time rover. Oh, before that, go ahead, Shark.
Well, at least he didn't say, well, that just happened.
Yep, thank goodness. Because, that's the one thing that could make me not like Dr. Seeker, if he said that, because otherwise, he is great. But
Yeah.
when the Carnotaurus roars into the time rover, this is the exact moment where they take the picture for the ride, which really, really is a cute thing that they do it at that moment, because, again, great spot for picture taking. They always like to do it at the big drop or the big scare, and, yeah, this one really, really does work out. But anyway, what happens, though, is Dr. Seeker basically aborts the mission as the time rover takes off. basically it zooms left and right again very fast before we finally pass Aladar. Up before we talk what happens with it. Go ahead, Sharvoun.
I like this moment. It goes to show that the doctor, what's his name again?
Dr. Seeker.
Dr. Seeker. It shows that he does at least have a conscience, and he does see the error of his ways a little later. It makes him at least a little more sympathetic, a little more likable, considering how it's his fault we're in this situation. So it's like it's like John Hammond, saying this was a bad idea.
Yep, I can never see where you're coming from. But a really fun touch too is as we pass over Aladar, Dr. Seeker says that there's no time to rescue him, and a really fun touch is Aladar actually ends up saving the Time Rover by lifting a log for them to get through. Whether that was like intentional of him or not is unknown, though I like to think it is. And the Time Rover then basically stops before a star field as the computer says that the asteroid impact is about to happen. And here we get a jump scare that is really, really cool. The carnotaurus ends up popping out of the wall and roars at the Time Rover, giving a jump scare to the passengers before it goes down into the abyss. Dr. Seeker screams about the passengers not being able to make it, but as the computer notes that the mission has been completed, and we get the red flashing time travel lights again, which again, really, really cool effect here. And in a really good joke, Dr. Seeker says, "You made it! Oh, I knew you would!" Literally 2 seconds later, he was screaming, "They're not gonna make it! They're not gonna make it!" Which again, I'm sorry, I'm a sucker for those kind of jokes,
Yeah.
But before I mention about something interesting with the ride, go ahead, Sharvoun.
I really, honestly, this is the biggest reason why I believe this was made during the Jurassic Park ride, or it was at least heavily influenced by it, because that's how the ride had a similar ending, one of the most famous, and in my opinion, done so much more effectively when it's just. But again, this is just a mild observation, and yeah, I think we all have those jokes that we just have a soft spot for. Mine is when someone insults someone and he's standing right behind me, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear it. Angron, you were saying?
Yeah. Basically, you let a group of tourists go into the past, unsupervised, mind you, for the most part, with a bunch of dinosaurs that can either trample or disembowel you. 3 carnotaurus act in the ride total, and you over here are just like, "Oh crap, they're not gonna make it." Why are you still working for this company if you are so freaking incompetent, or at the very least incompetent enough to do stuff like that? I mean, yeah, you're still human for that, but like, oh my gosh, you are letting people die.
Yeah, but thankfully everyone was okay with this. And
Yes.
one thing that is interesting here is basically Dr. Seeker says that Aladar basically came back with you, and originally the ride was meant to have an effect where the Time Rover would go past a mirror that would use like a Pepper's ghost effect that would show Aladar in the Time Rover with you looking around. Unfortunately, I don't know if the technology wasn't there, they didn't have the ride, so they couldn't complete it, but the giant mirror is actually still there if you know where to look. It's one of those things that's interesting. Later, they would do something like this on the Haunted Mansion ride, where they would have the hitchhiking ghosts actually in the Doom buggies, which is a really, really cute touch. I guess I was trying to do that here, but just didn't work. Yep. But basically, like I say, Dr. Seeker then says that he has to get Aladar before security does, then thanks all the passengers for their help. Then the Time Rover, of course, returns to its loading station as the passengers get out of the ride, but the story doesn't end there because, again, this is one of the things I kind of love about Disney, or at least like Disney theme parks when this is made, because the amount of effort they put into. When you get to the gift shop, there are TV monitors displaying a live feed of the security camera. Aladar basically is walking through the hallways completely confused because, I mean, of course he would, as Dr. Seeker is running around trying to find him, while Dr. Marsh and the other members of the security team talk about what happened with the Time Rover and are also trying to find Dr. Seeker and Aladar, basically to reprimand the ladder. And again, just the fact that they did that is such an amazing touch that probably 9/10 of like the people on the ride don't even know it exists. And yet the fact that they actually took the time to make that that is so much attention to detail. I love it. I absolutely love that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And, go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, it's honestly kind of cute that Aladar, of all dinosaurs, like after going through what he just did, is just like roaming the halls, looking around, just like, huh, that's weird. It's just like totally casual about being transported from the past to the future, while everyone else is like, oh crap, there's a dinosaur loose. Oh my gosh, just like, it's honestly hilarious. It's like, it's like the sheer contrast between the two groups. And like, oh man, I love that kind of humor a lot, especially since it means Aladar gets to shine a bit more.
Easily. And like I say, if you take it as like a quasi sequel to the movie, it's even better that way. But yeah, but of course, there's a mural showing a bunch of dinosaurs as well as a woolly mammoth and some other animals literally walking towards extinction, probably because a lot of the thing of Animal Kingdom back then was about conservation, and that was like the big theme of it. They had another ride, Kilimanjaro Safari, which is about like basically rescuing an elephant from poachers, while at the same time basically also seeing different animals and real life animals, you know? So that's something that really is fascinating. But basically, what's also interesting is the gift shop, because it has a wide variety of dinosaur fossils in it, and like actual fossils, including and excuse me for this bad pronunciation here, I'm not a paleontologist, so excuse me, Toxocheilus. Basically a giant turtle, you know. I like to joke that it's Gamera's ancestor because, you know, it definitely has that vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it has like a giant turtle fossil skeleton hanging directly from the ceiling, which definitely is a really cool touch there. You know?
Yeah.
It has like... Oops, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, well, of course, Alador's so casual. He has to make it to the photo shoot for the 100th anniversary.
Yep. Yep, definitely. But like I say, one thing that is really fascinating as well is basically it has like typical merchandise. It has dinosaur toys, T-shirts, and a section where you can actually buy the photo from your ride as usual. But what's interesting is there's also like murals of the Carnotaurus on the wall, as well as when you actually leave the Dino Institute building, there's smaller murals of all the dinosaurs you saw on your adventure. And there's even a little rest area that has like shade of, because, I mean, of course, Florida, that also has like dinosaur head-shaped drinking fountains. And I'm sorry, that is cool right there. That is a cool thing to put in, you know? Just like, again, attention to detail like that is so much fun. And yeah, that's basically it for the dinosaur ride, which of course was opened in 1998. And for many years, this was the thrill ride in Disney's Animal Kingdom, because the other roller coaster, Expedition Everest, would not open until 2006. And of course, later on, the Avatar Land themed rides would open years after that. And yeah, like I say, I could easily see why this would be one of the standout rides of Animal Kingdom when it opened up. But that's not the end of the episode yet for the question, because later, Dinoland USA, they actually expanded on it. They added another section called Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama, which is a dinosaur-themed carnival with all sorts of like carnival rides and games, like a spinning ride and like a, you know, whirling roller coaster and things like that, as well as carnival games like whack-a-mole and like throw the darts, pop the balloons and that. And you'd think that Disney would just say, okay, it's here, deal with it. But no, they actually put backstory to that as well, because the theming of it was owned by a couple who owned a gas station near the Dino Institute and decided to capitalize on it by opening a cheap, tacky carnival. And it was deliberately made to look like a cheap, tacky carnival. Like, people would say, oh, it looks like it's in a parking lot. That was the joke. The joke was that this is a crappy, rundown carnival while also being made by Disney and being, like, high standards. So, it's one of those things that really is interesting, you know?
Nice.
Unfortunately, they basically took all of that down in 2020, you know, because reasons, obviously. All of that is gone, and yeah, that's a shame, because again, that's just a fun little addition to it. You know, they would add things like that. There's also, believe it or not, had a meet and greet with a dinosaur there. Lucky the dinosaur, which was not a person in a costume, not a, like a foam mascot or that. It was an actual animatronic that pulled a giant flower cart which held all of its motors and servos and whatnot. It was actually capable of reacting to guests, and this thing looks amazing. Like, this was only in Disney's Animal Kingdom for like a year, maybe? Why? If you have such a cool animatronic like that, why would you not, like, do that sort of thing, you know? Keep that there, but they brought it to Hong Kong Disney instead, which, again, I have a shame they didn't keep it in Animal Kingdom, but at least some other people got to enjoy it, because, man, this thing was cool. Oh, go ahead, Sharvoun.
Disney Imagineers, you have the magic touch to bring children's imagination to life. Like, you were able to bring Wall-E to the real world, and you were able to give children the experience of Jurassic Park in real life with this animatronic. We have our I may criticize you for your mistakes, but when you have the magic touch, you got the Midas touch of it.
Definitely. But unfortunately, nothing can last forever, not even Disney theme park rides, because Dinosaur is being replaced by a ride starring another dinosaur, and his name is Indiana Jones.
No.
But, yeah, burn. But seriously, they're replacing Dinoland USA with a section dedicated to South America called Pueblo Esperanza. And there's also going to be sections themed to Encanto and Coco as well. And like I say, and Indiana Jones, which definitely is going to be interesting. That one thing that is interesting, it does make me wonder, because despite Disney getting rid of it, Dinosaur and Dinoland USA is likely to be way more timeless than anything they can replace it with. Because, number one, I mean, Harrison Ford is what, like 82 years old? I mean, you know, kids are, you know, they're probably not going to be interested in a ride starring a guy like that. And the other thing to notice is, will Encanto and Coco be relevant like 30 years from now? Because, like, kids love dinosaurs. They always love dinosaurs. Will kids always love the IP they're replacing it with? It's one of those things that really is interesting to think about. But now it is time for the question of the week, which is, what are your favorite theme park rides, or rather theme park experiences if you've never actually done a ride? I'll go first, and mine is pretty interesting because I have a couple of answers for this. Probably to start off with Disneyland Paris. My answer for that would easily be the best ride in Disneyland Paris, period, which is Phantom Manor. Because it's not the version of the Haunted Mansion that you find in like Walt Disney World or in Disneyland. It is a completely new ride. It is twice as long. It has a completely different story. It has an entire section where you go through an abandoned old mining town and a saloon and that. And it is so cool. Just the way that they make this. Like, they have a whole different story to it. And it ties into the rest of Frontierland as well, that they actually made a backstory like that. This thing is really an amazing ride. And the animatronics are great. And one other thing I just want to point out, the narrator of the ride, Vincent Price, doing the Haunted Mansion narration. I mean, that alone makes it worth riding at least once in your life. Go ahead, Shark. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I did hear. I actually haven't seen videos of it, but I have heard about it, and yeah, like it's kind of interesting because it's focused on the ghost ride, a character you only see like in one room in the original one. So they decided to make her the star of her own ride, basically.
Yeah, and the ride story, the backstory, is really dark. Like, I'm not going to get into it in this episode, but if you look it up, it is a dark thing for a ride.
Oh, yeah.
You know? It's a dark ride, but it's also a dark backstory for the ride, like we say, of this version. And yeah, it really is great. So that's going to be my Disneyland Paris answer. Now, for another non-Disney answer, it's going to be at Terra Mythica, which is the local theme park here based around, mythology and that. I'm going to go with a ride that no longer exists, and it sucks because that was so great, was the Jason and the Argonauts themed ride, because this ride had really cool animatronics. I mean, nowhere near on the level of Disney, let's be real, but they still looked really cool. There was a part of it was like a raft ride. You go through the Greek underworld, and you actually see all the punishments that the people went through, like Tantalus reaching for the fruit that he can no longer get, Sisyphus pushing up the boulder, the guy tied to the spinning flaming wheel in the sky and stuff like that. That was so dark yet so cool. And yeah, it was a really great thrill ride. And Terra Mythica, in their infinite wisdom, got rid of that whole section of mythological land, which sucks because that was like the best part of the ride, and they started charging up, and now no one goes to Terra Mítica here anymore except tourists and like schools. So it's kind of a shame because they had a great theme park and they ruined it. But getting off that topic, those are going to be my two answers. It's going to be Phantom Manor and also the Jason the Argonauts ride in Terra Mítica in Benidorm. Sharvoun, you were saying?
I was gonna say it is a dark backstory. I haven't been on the ride, but I have heard of the backstory. It is a dark story of lost love and pain. Check it out.
Less love and more lust. Just unmitigated lust. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah, definitely. But basically, that is definitely that's definitely my picks for it. So, Angron, what would your picks be for your favorite theme park rides?
Well, okay. There are a few experiences that I do hold in my heart to this day. 3D roller coaster from the main event, where you just take a seat and on the screen there's this. There's basically a simulated roller coaster ride that 100% is definitely worth the experience. The 3D is a little dated in a few places, but I will say this: it is definitely worth checking out. Another experience would be my first real roller coaster, of the Hammerhead from SeaWorld. That roller coaster, yeah, to be perfectly honest, I had been on a roller coaster before. I was young. I didn't really like the experience because, yeah, who doesn't really like going on a roller coaster? But I don't know. When I got a little older and when I actually went on the freaking roller coaster, it felt a lot better than it honestly should have been. So there's that. And excuse me. And for my experiences, like for stuff like theme parks and like entertainment places, two ultimately come to mind. The first, a tried and true classic, laser tag. I love laser tag. Like, it's non-lethal, it's fun. Like, the one that really comes to mind whenever I think laser tag is freaking main event. Yeah, main event was a lot. Main event was basically my gateway to a lot of games and rides and whatnot. Like, it's an arcade, but it's a really fun arcade. Yeah, so there's that. And then there's this boardwalk, and then there's like two boardwalk things where like one of which was a fun house me and my sister went into. There was this whirly room that tricked my mind into thinking that gravity was going in a circular motion to the left, and good lordy, that was not a pleasant experience. But at least we did a mirror maze, and we reached a little foam xylophone thing. I got to play the Song of Healing, which was fun. And another boardwalk thing was Kima Boardwalk, where there's this place where we could pet the stingrays. Like, I am a surf petting. It's amazing, and so long as they're not barbed, I'm kosher. But yeah, as for my ride, I am probably going to have to say the Hammerhead for being not as bad as my others, and for my experience, yeah, I am definitely going to have to say the Funhouse.
Yeah, all of those are really great options right there. Like I say, I really think it's just fascinating again how like I say, I love those like marine parks that we have one over here and like petting the stingrays. That's always awesome. Like I say, that's such a fun like sensation, you know.
Yeah, there's this restaurant. Yeah, there's this restaurant at the Kima Boardwalk called the Aquarium. It looks amazing. There's this freaking fish tank where that goes like in a cylinder and it goes up a flight of stairs. There's this green moray eel that was in it that to this day I 100% stand by moray eels for that reason. They're cool, they're awesome, they have a second jaw. There's a character from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that is legit an electrified moray eel. What more can I say?
Yeah, awesome. Like I say, really sounds like a lot of fun. That really is a great one. So basically, like I say, let's see. Matt, would you say your favorite theme park ride would be?
So I was in the last time I was at Disney World was when Dinosaur was still called Countdown to Extinction. So I have tried for the life of me to find this ride, and it seems to have been scrubbed from existence. The closest thing I could find is what is effectively the sequel to this ride, if you will. It's called The Sum of All Thrills. So the way that this particular ride worked, and it's very similar to the Sum of All Thrills, is you design your own roller coaster. You're given like a dozen or so different uh, preset roller coaster style things like loops or sideways swivels or things like that. You put those in combination for your roller coaster. It can only be so many things that you're allowed to put in, and then you get into one of those gyroscopic balls connected to an arm, and it simulates the roller coaster that you have built. And one of the cool things about this is it actually does a minor simulation on the screen that you're making this on before you have even get into the roller coaster to say how thrilling it is. And one of the neat things for repeat is it will rate it on a scale of 1 to 5. And I rode that thing like 10 different times trying to come up with the most intense roller coaster idea that I could.
Wow.
Nice.
And how did
Right.
it turn out?
Oh, it was the final one that I did was got the top rating, 5 out of 5, most spooky or however they phrased it, and it was really fun. Like I said, because it's a ball attached to an arm, they're able to just do the full. If you did a loop de loop, they can simulate that loop de loop. They will send you off the ground. It will make you feel like you're in the middle of the air, all that stuff. So it is a very cool idea, and for younger kids it really lets the creativity flow and figuring out, okay, this is what I need to do to allow for this kind of combination, which will add this sort of gyroscopic force, adding to the thrill factor and all that kind of stuff.
That is so awesome. That, like I say, that is something that really, really sounds so cool. You know, I really, really, I'm so glad you got to do that, and definitely it sounds really awesome. You know.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like the precursor to Thrillville off the rails, to be honest.
Probably something similar again. Again, I can't find this original ride. I have tried looking forever, and there is just no information about it at all. That's why I'm having to use the Sum of All Thrills as the explanation name, because the Sum of All Thrills came out in 2009 in Epcot, and this I was at Disney World pre 2000, so I know that this came out well before that.
Nice.
Awesome, awesome. That really, really does sound so cool. So, like I say, definitely, definitely a great, great choice for that. Because again, I love that whole thing. Like, it's like, okay, you like it, make it yourself. You know?
Nice.
Literally.
I know. That is so, so cool. So, anyway, like I say, let's see. Shark, what would your favorite theme park ride be?
Right, this is interesting because lately there's like two I will say that are my favorites, and it's kind of funny because, well, just like you, one is gonna be a Disney ride and the other one is gonna be a non-Disney ride. And even then, there's a complete opposite there because one is a ride I have rode so many times, and the other one is a ride I've only been once, but it's so good that, man, it really gets up. So for the Disney one, it's gonna be a classic one. It's gonna be the Haunted Mansion actually, and it's gonna be not just that, but specifically a version of the Haunted Mansion that's not recent, but it's been there for a while already. The Haunted Mansion Holiday. They open it during, I think, from October to January, and it's really fun because they take the mansion and make it a Nightmare Before Christmas ride.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, you have like decorations. Yeah, like you have the decorations outside the house, the Christmas trees, but creepy ones. Jack-o'-lantern with Santa hats. Then you go inside and you start hearing the music from the house and more stuff. Sharvoun, what are you gonna say?
I'm a huge Tim Burton fan, so I've never really experienced the Haunted Mansion during the holidays, but I will say it must have been a sight to behold. I can't imagine how awesome it must be to experience it. So, but I have seen videos of it, and they do a great job recapturing the style of Tim Burton while incorporating with the Haunted Mansion. If to be honest, I'm surprised Tim Burton was never approached to make a Haunted Mansion movie.
Right. But yeah, it's cool because it's not like, oh, we didn't just put Jack Skellington here, or oh, the music, we could just replace the paintings with Halloween. No, the whole thing is, it really feels like a completely different ride. And it changes every year. Like in the ballroom, there's a gingerbread house that they actually change it each year. Like one year is a haunted house. The other year is like a giant oogie boogie. The other year is like the treehouse of the Lock, Shock, and Barrel. So it's so unique, and yeah, and it's kind of funny because it's kind of the version because I did read the original version many times, but after the change, usually when I went to Disney, it's usually in December. So I'm pretty sure I gone to the haunted, the Jack Skellington version, more like the normal version now. But yeah, that's my Disney answer for that one. And it's, again, a ride I've gone so many times that it's definitely one of my favorites. Now, the other one that I only been once, it's really interesting because it's not Disney, but it's from their biggest competitor there, and it's Universal Studios.
Ooh.
Oh.
Go ahead.
And here's the funny thing about this ride: you can just walk and make a line. Oh no! You have to collect 3 keys.
Oh.
Where do you get these keys? Well, Bowser Jr. hid these keys and gave them to its minions that you can see across Nintendo World. And once you get them, you can enter Bowser Jr.'s fortress for the Bowser Jr. Showdown. And it's a really unique ride because, for starters, it's not a ride. You don't get on top of a vehicle or anything. It's a shadow game. There's a projectile behind you that casts your shadow, and Bowser Jr. is gonna... Yeah, you have to fight Bowser Jr. with this. He's gonna launch bombs, he's gonna launch fire, and you have to dodge them. You actually have to move so your shadow dodge the attacks. And when he sends bombs, you have to move your arms so you can reflect the bombs back at Bowser Jr. And there's so many obstacles. When bullet bills come by, you have to crouch, you have to jump to evade lava bubbles that come from the ground. So yeah, it's a really interactive ride per se, but yeah, it's a really cool and unique feature there. So just for that, it's like, wow, this is completely different than my usual ride. And yeah, I was only able to play it once, but wow, no, this is amazing. This is a really, really great idea for a theme park game.
Definitely.
Easily. And like I said, Nintendo Land is one of those things that with Universal, I'm sorry, this thing is absolutely incredible. Like, this is so amazing, you know?
Yeah, and again, and the fact that you are actually there, well, your shadow is there, but like you actually have to move to actually get the happy ending per se that rides usually give you automatically. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that really is awesome. Like I say, just the theming alone, like you can really tell how much love and care was put into it because, I mean, my God, this thing is just amazing. This looks like you're actually in the Mushroom Kingdom, and the new DK section is going to be awesome as well. And maybe we'll get some other Nintendo franchises. Maybe something slightly small and, like I say, Plant Life, wink wink. Would be awesome if we did. But yeah, that is a great...
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that is a great selection right there. Like I say, really amazing. So, yep, that's a great choice. And unfortunately, Stryker had to leave in this time, but he did say what his favorite theme park ride was, which was Back to the Future, the ride from Universal Studios, which definitely is another ride that I watched on YouTube because, again, I think it actually came with the Back to the Future tape at one point. It had like the whole Q video and also the ride, and man, it does look like fun too. It really, really does. It's a simulator ride where you're in like a car, kind of like Star Tours at Disney, but it really looks like fun. They got Christopher Lloyd, they got Tom Wilson back as Biff, and man, it's just so creative. It really, really is a fun ride. I can see why he picked that. And now for our guest, Sharvoun, what is your favorite theme park ride and why?
I was going to go with the Haunted Mansion, but since that was Zach already mentioned, I'm going to go with something that wasn't mentioned that's very relevant, the Jurassic Park ride. It is a water-themed ride where you go through a stream and just experience all these wonderful animatronics, but then something bad happen. Big shock. Something wrong happens during a Jurassic Park themed thing, but it's thrilling. It's incredible. It's just the animatronics still looked really good when I visited. They do play a lot with the water effects. Like there are some dinosaurs that will actually spit at you, and it has one of the most awesome climaxes of all time where you have to escape. You have to go into this abandoned building, and when you finally leave the building, you go down this drop, and while it goes down, a T-Rex just swings right at you. Like, oh my god, it was just amazing for like that. It blew my mind when I first saw it. Sadly, as many people will probably bring up, the ride's technically no longer there. They revamped it or rebooted it with Jurassic World, but not entirely. It's replaced in the Hollywood section, but in Universal Islands of Adventure in Orlando, it still operates.
Nice.
So if you want to experience it as close to the original as possible, go to Orlando. Something I never thought I'd say in my entire life. As for my favorite experience, that's actually also from Universal Studios, the Universal Studios tour, where they show a lot of the backlots, they show a lot of the back sets. Like, for example, there used to be they show the Bates Motel from Psycho. They actually show the courthouse square from Back to the Future. They show how they produce a flood. Also, there used to be a section where you got to experience King Kong, called the King Kong Encounter. However, since that was destroyed in a fire, they replaced it with a King Kong 3D event. It's just, I'm a huge fan of also the earthquake event, which actually shows how a flash flood is created. Like, there's also a Jaws themed area where a shark would just lunge at you. I'm sorry, but I love movies. I love how they're made. And yeah, if you like them too and you're close to Universal, there's your ride. Or your experience.
Like I said, I definitely see where you're coming from, and like we definitely are going to be talking about the Jurassic Park theme rock ride in the future because all the dinosaurs are canonically female, so definitely probably is more sense to do that than this. But regardless, yeah, we're definitely gonna do that. And good eye on the Jurassic World ride because maybe we'll have to do the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World ride to like compare and contrast differences, or we could do one and then the other. Could be interesting, but yeah, that is really, really a good option right there. Especially with another dinosaur. So, yep. So basically, that's gonna be now time for the patent pending Dragoness Scale, where we rank the Dragonesses from 1 to 10. And here we are ranking the all non-Aladar dinosaurs because Aladar is confirmed male, so he does not go on the count, but all of the other dinosaurs, it's kind of those things where it's weird. It's more of an ambiguous situation. Kind of like, actually, 2 episodes ago when we did the music videos. So, kind of like that. But regardless, the dinosaurs are the Dinosaur Animal Kingdom theme park ride. I'm giving them a 7 out of 10. And the reason I'm doing that is because yeah, the animatronics have shown their age, but again, they're 30 years old. I mean, nothing lasts forever. But at the same time, I think what it is they really do. They are just props. They're not really characters. At the same time, I feel what helps with the ranking is number one, the fact that they put so many different species, especially ones you don't see a lot in other rides. And number two is the carnotaurus, which really says a great presence as the main antagonist of the ride, like it popping up and roaring, and especially the final like jump scare in that. Is it a little derivative of what Sharvoun just said with the Jurassic Park ride? Maybe, but at the same time, that's just a great moment right there. And to have it be the big bad, it really does work out for the best. And again, I love the little details like the raptor popping up for a jump scare, the docile sauropod that you pass. Again, the dinosaur with the other dinosaur smaller in its mouth and that. And yeah, I really have to give it that score because, like I said, I'm a fan of this ride. I'm sorry, I really think it looks cool. It's a shame I never really got to experience it, but regardless, that's gonna be my score. Angron, what would yours be?
I'm gonna go one lower, 6 out of 10. Yeah, I've seen Dinosaur, so I know Aladar's personality, and thankfully the ride keeps him in check. Everyone else, however, acts basically more like something from, I don't know, Jurassic Park / World than anything else. They're all, to quote Mathmachine a little bit, it's just an animal. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of personality going on. It's lively. The ride definitely adds a sense of pressure and everything, and I do like that. I appreciate what this ride ultimately does, and I very much agree that this definitely doesn't deserve to be replaced by an Indiana Jones ride. But as far as personality goes, yeah, they're just animals. So overall, I mean, they're really well done animals. I won't deny that fact, but yeah, like on their own, they just exist, and like there's not too much personality. And I mean, yeah, the little nod to possibly Baleen and or her kind is great and all, which might bump it up a little bit to a 7 out of 10. But yeah, that's about as high as I'm giving them. They're not exactly wasted space. They have a purpose, but yeah, that purpose doesn't really do anything more than a 7 out of 10 for me. So yeah, 7 out of 10.
Oh, good. I definitely see where you're coming from there. Like I said, it's one of those things that, again, they're more of like props and characters at the same time. I feel like they're like so well done. You do kind of have to give them their props, but
Exactly.
yep, I see. Yep, definitely. So, Math, let's see what score you give them.
Actually, right there with you with a 7 as well.
Okay, 7 train.
So-
Here we go.
As I said earlier, I rode this ride back when it was still called Age to Extinction or Countdown to Extinction. Again, showing my age. What really helped is that back then, when it was fresh, it was actually a lot different than it is now. It's unfortunately kind of degraded, and they have left it rot to time. You can see that the animatronics have not been kept up. They've really toned it down. They've made it a bit more kid friendly because back when I rode it, the pop ups were even scarier. They had dinosaurs eating each other. The animatronics looked very fresh and clean and nice. They had them move around a bit more. That they gave personality to them, and it feels like it's been drained out over the years, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
that's what I really like about animatronics. And you actually give them sort of life and personality. And the original Countdown to Extinction did that in spades, which is why it's a 7. They are still just giant monsters, as
Big monster.
Angron was saying, but they give them enough personality and flair that they actually feel like they're trying to be characters in that very quick ride as well. So kudos to Disney for always finding ways to do that with their animatronics when they actually bother to maintain them.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from, and it's definitely kind of a shame because theme park rides are one of those things that you can archive them with video, you can archive them with like the props and that, but it's really one of those things that's really just like an experience. You understand? It's like one of those things where you actually have to physically be there. Kind of like, in a way, you can almost say it's like theater, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I'm not comparing this to like, say, like Shakespeare and that, but it's one of those things that theme park rides are so contingent on the fact that it has to be like a like you have to actually be there to see it, basically.
Yep. Seeing is believing.
Yep, definitely. But let's see. Shark, what would your score be?
Well, we'll keep the 7 train going, I guess. Because, yeah, the main issue is that they are not like the characters from the movie. They are animals. They are supposed to be animals in this ride. And, yeah, okay, there's no personality here. It's just some want to kill you, some can crush you, some are just there. But I will give them credit for the fact that, well, this is not an animation. This is not a drawing. This is something you actually see in real life, and for them to look this good in real life, yeah, they went all the effort to make the movements, to make the animatronic, to place them in an environment that makes them convincing. So yeah, there was effort in putting the characters, well, not the characters, the animals here, and I do appreciate that. I appreciate the technology used to bring them here. So most of that score is going through that effort. So yeah, 7 out of 10.
All good. Unfortunately, like I say, the 7 out of 10, basically the 7 out of 10 train, unfortunately, is going to go for a halt right now because Stryker decided to give them a 4 out of 10, unfortunately. He did not specify why, but I think maybe he was going based on the modern version compared to the original 1998 version, because if he was, I think he would have given them a higher score, but, well, kind of everything. So now that just leaves our... Yep. So, that just leaves our guest Sharvoun. What score would you give them?
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm gonna go with Angron. I'm gonna go with Angron's rating and say a 6. Mostly because it's it's a great idea, but not only are they just big monsters, they're just animals with very little personality. Aside from the carnotaurus, that's a nice running antagonist to get away from. But in my honest opinion, I could have used more variety of dinosaurs. That was my biggest problem.
Variety. Wow.
But like a lot more variety. Like this one has a few dinosaurs, but not really enough to justify the experience, in my opinion. One of my biggest problems with the experience, in my opinion, is that it is very short, at least for my taste. But they're not bad. The animatronics haven't aged well from the more modern, before it was close, but right after it was released, they were impressive animatronics. They do have a dark sense of humor, like when we see that dinosaur eat that other dinosaur. I just imagine how many children were scarred by that, and I get a good laugh at that. I'm sick that way, but either way, it's a 6 out of 10 for me. It's not badly done, but I'm just not that impressed.
So, what score would you give them again?
6.
6. Okay, 6. Okay, it's all good. So, yep, I think that's gonna be it for our talk about Disney's Dinosaur AKA Countdown to Extinction theme park ride. If you have any questions, or if you want to tell us how much you'd like to have a meet and greet with Dr. Seeker, you can feel free to email us at fiorydiscourse@outlook.com. Visit us on Twitter at twitter.com/fiorydiscourse. Visit us on Blue Sky at Blue Sky Fiery Discourse. Be sure to subscribe to the Fiery Discourse YouTube channel, subscribe to the playlist, like and hit the bell icon, leave a comment. Any and all comments are appreciated. Also, one of our co-hosts, Lucky Evie, is looking to move to a group home in the UK. That will also be in the description. Any and all help for that will be appreciated. Next week, we'll be talking about the 2022 Fantastic Four comic book issues, sore winners, and a thing or two. Because it's not only Jurassic July, we're also tying it into the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. So, double basically integration, baby. But yeah.
Tie-in.
Sure, that's it. It's going to be a lot of fun, like I said, to talk about it, though, because, again, second comic book, definitely going to be interesting because, unlike Jurassic League, this one is not like an Elseworld comic. This is just a comic in general that something can be really, really interesting to talk about, you know, especially because it's the more recent one done by Ryan North, who also did the Dinosaur Comics webcomic, which we may talk about sometime in the future, hopefully. And yeah, that'll be it for this week. Angron, anything you want to add? Or
I guess you could say it's going to be fantastic.
say that again.
Fantastic!
Had to do it. But yeah, that's going to be it for this week from all of us. And until then, see you next week and take care.
Bye-bye.
Peace out.
Adios.
Laters.
Bye.
See you all next week for Fantastic Four.